Hi, welcome to episode number 31 of the Smack Happy Videocast. I'm Nicole.
And I'm Danielle.
And we are going to talk about some business challenges that our clients have. Today we're going to talk about Jason's challenge, which is that he finds it hard to keep his social media presence fresh and new. And to answer this question, we just happen to have a blog post that kind of tackles this exact issue. So I'm going to hand it over to Danielle to share her screen, show us this blog post, and kind of talk through what we recommend for this issue.
Okay. Well, I guess my first thought was, Jason, everybody, including us, feels your pain on this.
Very true.
It's something that changes so much, and there's so many resources out there. And I think I've said this about one of the previous recent video casts that we've done. There's so much out there that it gets sort of confusing on where to actually start. So we kind of went into some thought about this and made a really simple 2-scenario sort of blog that explains a couple of different starting points on where you could go with this. And it's something that we really hear a lot from different clients, from people that don't have social media, from people that do have it and don't use it, from people that use it all the time and just don't understand, if they're using it correctly or if they could use it better, differently, whatever. So we kind of took all of that and sort of separated it into 2 really simple places to start. And, we can share all this information too. There's some other resources that we'll add to the video cast post itself so that, you could refer to this afterwards and go from there. So the first scenario that we sort of outlined a little bit is that you are a business that has a business website. You have content, but either you have social media accounts that you don't use or you don't have any yet. So the base thought here is just to start thinking about the basics, what you want to share, and that you're really excited to share something about your business. So sometimes it just takes, a few minutes out of your day and just think about what you're excited about your business. Like, what are you excited to do when it comes to solving somebody's pain points? So like for us, it might be, for example, somebody needs a website, they don't know how to do it, so we do it for them. Just a very basic thought, a basic level thought. But so I guess the question is, if somebody goes to your website, what do you want people to know? So, the best thing to share is always something that will, excitedly educate them about what you're sharing, and will always give them some kind of value. So, just jot down a few notes wherever you like to take notes. Some of us, we still take notes on paper, we use Evernote, but just make sure it's all tracked somewhere so that, when you do go back and you start thinking about exactly what you're going to say and planning things out, you have sort of this outline already as you move forward.
And I think you want it to be, you mentioned making it, educational.
Mm-hmm.
So for social media, you really want it to be educational or entertaining.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just creating more fluff out there that's just going to get lost and no one's ever going to see it.
Yeah. So I guess on the other side of that too is that I think there's also a fear that someone is going to share something and it's not going to be exciting. And if you're new to sharing things on social media for your business, try not to get too caught up in that at first. That will improve over time as you learn what your audience likes, what they dislike, which I think that point actually sometimes will hold people up because they're scared to post something that might not be exciting. But I think that's okay because it won't always be like that, right? So sometimes too, even when you're really good at what you want to say and your business, like the back of your hand, you still have posts that nobody's interested in. So it's just, it's one of those things. But anyway, so if you still need to figure out who that is, your audience, we have some resources in the blog as well that you can fill out to try to figure out, some buyer profiles, buyer personas. I think, different marketers call them different things, but it's basically just an outline of who you're talking to. So it's a quick reference for you and for anybody who's going to be talking about your business to kind of know exactly who they're talking to, which will help you figure out what to say and how to make it interesting to them.
Yeah, it's like talking to a person. It's much easier for you and I to have a conversation than for me to just speak to a void, right?
Yeah, absolutely correct. And so I guess one other bigger point here is, you do not have to sign up for all of the social media accounts. I think that was probably something that people used to do a lot more. I don't even know how many years ago, but when social media first started really becoming something like a tool for businesses to use, I think it was like, ooh, the more accounts you have, the more credibility. And that's just, it's not the case anymore. It's really with everything on websites, SEO, any kind of strategy you have. It's just all about the person who's going to be coming to your website, coming to your social media, and speaking to them and being personable, and the user experience, the whole thing surrounding that. So anyways, I don't want to go through every point. There's definitely some good, juicy, meaty stuff that you could dig into. Like, I think probably the most common thing is to start with a Facebook page or start on Facebook because it's probably the easiest to use, has the most documentation out there for you to figure out how to use it the best. There's different pluses for businesses to use Facebook for credibility. And if you're a local business, it'll share your address and become another local listing for you. And I can also add, a resource about some local SEO advice for that too. But, there's a little bit of a video in here that'll show you, if you haven't created one yet, how to do that, how to figure out what type of page is good for you, and some other resources on how to really get started with some likes, some images, and things like that. Do you have any other final thoughts on the first scenario?
Yeah, I think we recommend, just starting with one account because you kind of want to test and measure it, right? Mm-hmm. So let's say you try Facebook for 1 month, you see what kind of interactions you're getting, and then maybe you try Instagram for a month and see if you get more interactions there. Or because our audiences all live in different places and you just don't know where you're going to get the best results. So you want to, try the different platforms, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Agree. It'd also get you used to it, just used to the whole process of what you are going to do for your business specifically. Because I think everybody's is a lot different. I mean, there's, a process that we've sort of outlined here, but maybe a piece that doesn't really fit into, your business model and what you have to say and share and things like that. You might like a different tool or have heard of something different to use, to create the posts, to plan them, things like that. Mm-hmm. One thing I don't think that I specifically addressed in here, and since we're talking about Facebook, was hashtags. I might have quickly mentioned it, but Um, you don't really need to worry about hashtags on Facebook. I think some businesses can fit into using one, and it's really more intricate than it needs to be. And I don't think a lot of people actually use hashtags on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I don't think that that's something that they're probably gonna pursue more of in the future with just how things have been going, making it better for the users. So that's something that you don't have to worry about
On Facebook.
on Facebook.
But Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram is different. Um,
And Twitter too, right?
yeah, Twitter too, and they're different in between the two platforms as well. So like, there's ones that are more popular. I can share a couple of resources that I use, that I refer to kind of figure that out. And then, you know, think of each social platform as its own search engine. So like, if you were going to go to Instagram and you're like, I don't know what hashtag to use, you can actually just start typing, you know, the hashtag sign and whatever word that you think might relate to your post. So like for us, it could be like marketing or web design or whatever. And you can see right in the drop down of the search bar how many people have used it. And you can just search different people's posts and see what people are saying, what's popular. You know, maybe even find somebody that you want to tag in your post that might have, you know, a good account. So that's like the influencer sort of marketing. But anyway, that's really high level stuff. It's much more involved, you know, when you get into really planning that stuff out. But, you know, just to get you started, you know, this is what this is more about, is getting started. So anyway, so yeah, I guess there's one other scenario that we've put out there, and it is, you do have a business website with content, and you are sharing posts in some way, shape, or form, and you're wondering how you can probably spend less time doing this and automate it. I definitely don't want people to be afraid of the word automation or get confused on that, because I remember when I first started using different tools to automate different types of, you know, marketing channels, it seemed like you could go down this rabbit hole of just like, okay, well, I'm just going to do all this stuff and walk away. It doesn't mean you can walk away from it. You know, you're still managing it. But there are ways to make your life a little easier and kind of plan what you want to do in different buckets, so that, you know, you don't have to always be on Facebook every single day posting all the time. So like, you could kind of say, okay, well, at the beginning of the week on Mondays, I'm going to schedule 1 week's worth of posts. And then all you're worried about throughout the week is if someone's engaging with it, instead of worrying about posting new content every day. And you can just build up what you have to say, and then you have this huge list of things, so that you can go and refer to it each week and just say, oh, wow, I already planned this out Monday. So now I have this that I can add into, you know, my queue of whatever I want to say. And one of the easier tools, and there are paid options, but you can start with the free option. And I believe Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and possibly Pinterest and LinkedIn are included in the free options. I think you can only add up to 3 accounts for free. And in Buffer, you can schedule out 10 days in advance. So like 10 posts, which is really cool. That's all free. You know, like you said, there's other options that you could, and they're affordable. You can upgrade to a business monthly plan, and I don't think anyone's doing enterprise stuff here, because we're talking more about people who are just doing this on their own. But they have a lot of options, they have a lot of resources, and they're definitely a great company. Like, I've always liked reading what Buffer has to say just about social media in general. So if you haven't checked them out yet, they're a pretty cool company, and definitely worth looking into for posting things. So like I said, with this kind of tool, you can schedule your posts for the whole week. Choose what time you want to post, add images and hashtags, and you can even tag people. It'll pull up your people that you want to tag or the businesses you want to tag. So everything can be done within that tool for the most part. There's also a couple videos in this blog that we've been scrolling through that kind of shares, the best times to post. And I'll also add a couple of newer resources that I've referred to for this year. But, this is another thing not to get too hung up on at first. I think, like Nicole mentioned, once you start doing things, you're able to test and measure. And there are tools in Facebook that allow you to see the insights of like when people are most interacting with your posts, when people are online.
Yeah, what kind of engagement you've been getting.
Yeah. And a lot of the statistics you're going to find out there are probably averages. Your business could be like way off on one side of the range than everybody else. So depending like heavily on the statistics probably is okay at first. And then, you want to use your own data to figure out, when the best time to post is. And I'll share a screenshot of the part of the page on Facebook that you can look at. It just kind of gives you a little flow chart where you can kind of see the bars of where people are interacting the most. And it's really cool to look at because sometimes it's surprising.
Yeah.
What was the one that we just saw, Nicole? It wasn't social media, but it was email.
Oh, for Cassidy?
Yeah. I think we were thinking, okay, so Tuesdays used to be the best, and now it's Fridays.
Well, for her particular clients.
Yeah, for those particular clients, they were interacting on Friday evening.
And I have a suspicion because, her content is more for your personal life, not your business life. So I guess I imagine people, they come into work on Friday and they don't really want to start working yet because they just want the weekend to begin. So they check their personal emails.
Yeah. So then, so there's this other guy who I like. He could be a little intense. I think some people enjoy listening to him and other people don't. But he does have some decent insights about the frequency of posting. Mm-hmm. However, there are other, folks out there that can offer similar advice and things like that. So I guess the last thought on this post, and I just added this. I just set this up for somebody recently that we just launched one of their websites, and there's other plugins out there. This is specific to WordPress websites. But I'm sure there are other tools for other types of CMSs that you could use. I'm just not sure what they are. Since we're, heavily involved in WordPress, we know that pretty well. So we always suggest, WordPress plugins to go with WordPress sites for this kind of thing. But there's a function inside of the Jetpack plugin for WordPress that kind of adds an option. Every time you add a post, you can just automatically have it shared to your social media accounts. And I think there is a difference in between paid and free. So free, it looks like you can get the basics. You can get Facebook and Twitter and possibly LinkedIn. And probably when you upgrade, if you want to upgrade to Jetpack Premium, you can get other social media accounts. So you just connect the accounts through the tool, and it kind of looks like this in your WordPress site. You click that, and just connect. You need to connect, and I'm sure there's some different tips in here that I found on Jetpack that'll kind of share with you how that works. And you know, this could even be the option over you figuring out what to schedule at first. So at least now when you're adding something to your website, it'll just automatically go to Facebook and you don't have to worry about any other step. So it could be something that really just works for you. Maybe you end up just with a Facebook page in the end of things. And there's so much more to this. And I'm sure we'll have some other discussions about social media, but I guess just my last and final thought is just, you know, don't try not to feel intimidated by it. You know, we still figure things out as a marketing company every day. It's always changing. It just is one of those things you just gotta get in there and get started somehow. And this is what this is for, this blog and these resources.
And it's also
get going.
Yeah, probably a good reminder for everyone that, you know, marketing is it's all trial and error. You just have to try things and see how they go and figure out what works and track your results and do more of the things that perform well for you.
Yeah. Yes. Always an ongoing maintenance sort of deal, even with social media. Always have to be doing something different, changing, looking at what you did, like you just said, looking at your results and testing, measuring. Which is, if this sounds super duper 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 boring to you, then that means you need a marketing team. So that we can care about all of the boring things that we find exciting, and then, you know, you can continue working with what you're doing, and
you do more of the things you love doing. We'll do the things that we love doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the gist. Those are the two kind of higher level examples of you know, how to get started, and hopefully you know, we've helped out a little bit. Hopefully we answered the question.
Yes. Yes. So if you're listening, then shoot us a note. Let us know what you thought. If you have your own business challenges that you'd like us to tackle, and if you have any tips on how you keep your social media accounts fresh and new. And we thank you for joining us. Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.